Sport Clips Haircuts and ESPN are teaming up for a Dad's Day getaway. An all-expenses-paid trip to ESPN and a day spent with Golic and Wingo on their show. Register for your chance to win at sportclips.com/ESPN. No purchase necessary. See rules at sportclips.com/ESPN. U.S. only. Age 18 and up and 6/15/18.
Welcome in, Golic and Wingo on a Monday morning. Glad you're with us. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. It does have a sort of ring of familiarity, Mike, does it not, what's going on in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, it certainly does. LeBron down 0-2. We've seen that before. He's actually 3-4, I think, in series where he's been down 0-2. He's been there before, but listen, I think we all kind of saw this one coming after game one, their chance. When you have a team, we've known this. Golden State is a better team than Cleveland. So Cleveland.
What are you saying?
Yeah,
are you sure?
So, I mean, we know LeBron has to play out of his mind, which he did in game one. They had their chance in game one, and you just wondered how would they come out in game two. And in all honesty, the number 7 kept coming up. They kept getting within 7.
Yeah.
We'd get within 7. We'd get within 7. And then we'll explain why Steph Curry was the one who really daggered them when we get into what's trending. But I just... Listen, they go back to Cleveland now, and we have seen Golden State, when they get up, kind of get fat and happy. As they said, the Sweet Georgia Brown music starts to play from the Globetrotters, and, you know, they kind of feel good about themselves, and to see a few more turnovers, and they give up a game or so. We'll see if they do that. If not, if they stay focused the way they are, they did some different things in this game, in game two, that they did in game one on LeBron. That had an effect not only on LeBron, but his teammates as well. So, they're clearly the better team. It's just a matter of when, not if here.
Well, and we'll get into this a little bit later. The only hope you have, again, you've been here before very recently with the Cavs, and lo and behold, not only were they down 2-1, but 3-1, 3 games to none, and 3-1.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, they did come back to win it, but that was without Kevin Durant for the Golden State Warriors and with Kyrie Irving for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, it's going to be a little more done. They were just down 2-0 to the Celtics, but the Celtics team isn't this Golden State team.
That is a fact.
I mean, this Golden State team, when they are on, as we're going to get into, forgetting the stars, but the ancillary players, which LeBron has to trust in so much. Boy, Golden State really had them going last night.
They did. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is a big deal. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com.
And I look forward to stories from you.
Oh, how was your weekend?
Oh, mine didn't involve any kind of wrecks or anything, which yours did out in Detroit. Holy smokes.
Yeah, you know, you go out there and you think you're going to have some fun.
Give us a little tease. Where were you?
I was in Detroit.
Yeah.
I was at the Detroit Grand Prix over the weekend, and I was in the 2-seater, and
you were out there in front of the pack when some bad things happened.
Thankfully, I was in front of the pack.
I can't wait to hear that story.
Lots to get into there, I promise. We'll get into what happened at the Memorial Jacks tournament with Tiger, and what didn't happen with Tiger.
Right.
And what did happen with a couple of other people. Plus, our guests today include Jason Sobel, talking about the Memorial and the golf leading into Shinnecock next week from the Action Network. Hot Take Hollins, Ryan Hollins, will be here at 8 o'clock. Our NBA analyst, David Kaplan from Kaplan Company on ESPN 1000 in Chicago, will also be here with us in studio today. And the big guy, another big guy. We do tall guests in the NBA.
Yes,
Brian
we do.
Scalabrine, NBA champion, will also join us on the phone about what he thought happened in Game 2. But we'll start with what's trending, and I think Steph Curry just hit another 3. Set an NBA Finals record with 9 made three-pointers, as the Warriors did beat the Cavs by 19 to take a 2-0 lead in the Finals. Game high 33 points, and was pulled with under 3:30 to play.
So at 9 3-pointers, passing Ray Allen for the most ever in an NBA Finals game, passed LeBron James for the most career three-pointers in the Finals with 90, has made 14 three-pointers this series, the most ever in the first 2 games of a playoff series. That, according to our friends at Elias, a bunch of other three-point records we can get into as well. The interesting thing, though, when you look at his stats, he was 11 of 26, so he was under 50%. All the other guys not named Steph Curry that were starters basically shot 65%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was ridiculous the help he got. That game started like a layup drill for Golden State. It was a joke. JaVale McGee is laying the ball up and getting slams. I mean, he went 6 for 6, and I think no shot was ever more less than a slam or a layup. It was ridiculous what was going on. And this was early in the game. as Golden State had jumped out to lead, but Cleveland kept making it close. This was the amazing. At one point, they showed the stat in the first quarter. At one point, Golden State was shooting 83%. 83%. The bottom line, though, they ended up shooting 60-some% in the quarter, and the Cavs were only 4 down. If you're a Cav fan, you just kept grabbing on and hoping and say, okay, they're only 4 down. But then they're, what are they, 13 down at halftime. They actually won the third quarter.
That was the amazing thing.
They did, and then the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go, lo and behold, at 7 points, they're down again. That was a magic number, but that guy named Steph Curry just kept draining threes. I said the comparison was like it's 3rd and 6, and then that receiver catches a 6.5-yard pass.
Yep.
You're just about off the field. For Cleveland, you're just about to get it to maybe a 5 or a 4-point lead and make a little run. And, man, there's Steph Curry hitting you with yet another dagger 3 to put it back at a 10-point lead.
So we could sum it up by saying Steph Curry was in the zone.
He was really good.
Brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. But go read those stats again that you just said about Steph Curry, because there was one that stood out to me as soon as you said it. I was like, you've got to be kidding.
So he made 9 3-pointers in Game 2, again, passing Ray Allen for the most ever in an NBA Finals game. Passed LeBron James for the most career 3-pointers in the Finals with 90.
That's the one.
Okay. 90.
LeBron James has been to 8 straight Finals now. 8 straight Finals, and 9 in his career. And Steph has been to 4 straight.
Yeah.
And he has the record for most 3-pointers.
Yes, he does.
I mean, if you're looking for the one definitive stat that defines how good he is at what he does, I get LeBron James is not a 3-point specialist.
No.
But he's been there more than twice as long, man.
Yeah, he has.
Twice as long.
He has.
And this guy in 4, and oh, by the way, still got 2 games to play in this Finals at least.
And some of the threes you were hitting were just are ridiculous.
Yeah,
right? Well, he hit that one you see in pregame. He was in the tunnel. Yeah. Way in the tunnel and shot one up. And it's a joke how he shoots the ball. Crazy.
I think the Cavs felt like he hit some from the tunnel during the game.
Yeah, I think so.
The way it was going. Unbelievable. And, hey, you know what? Cleveland is going home. We'll get into more of that a little bit later. You got to have some hope and just think, hey, if we can get something from J.R. Smith, something, maybe things will work out. And I mean something for their team, not something for the other team. Okay, the third time at the 18th hole was the charm for Bryson DeChambeau. By the way, is there a better golf name than Bryson DeChambeau?
It's a great name.
Yeah.
It's a great name. So he has a 10-footer at the 72nd hole in regulation, the last hole to end this thing. As it was getting, him and Kyle Stanley were basically spraying the ball, getting up there, trying not to, who's not going to 3-putt to let Byung-Hun An back in did I say that right? As he's sitting there, practicing and something, waiting to see if these guys are going to fall back to him, and both of them do. Both Stanley and DeChambeau bogey the last hole to let on in the playoff, a 3-person playoff, but DeChambeau has that 10-footer in regulation, and the 72nd hole, he misses it. In the first playoff hole, Kyle Stanley, at one point, should have just picked his ball up because he was just playing in the rough.
It's so hard.
I mean,
you feel so bad as the player. It's like, I'm killing you guys. I'm not really here. What am I doing?
And then DeChambeau hits again on the 18th, as you mentioned, in the second playoff hole to get the win.
Yeah, his second win on tour, 24 years old. One of the things that's really interesting about DeChambeau that most people don't know is that he takes a real scientific approach to the game. You know, all your irons are different lengths?
Yes.
All his irons are the same length. He's decided, I only want to have one swing. So his 6-iron and his wedge, his 3-iron and his 9-iron are all the same length. So he has them all cut to the length of a 6-iron. And then so he makes the same swing with every club.
I didn't know that.
Isn't it weird? It's kind of a fascinating thing.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to play golf this week?
No.
Okay, just checking. But it's kind of fast. From a mathematics standpoint, why am I leaning farther with this club? I mean, it does make kind of sense. I guess whatever
works for you too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And whenever I see DeChambeau, I can't help but think of Payne Stewart, the late great Payne Stewart.
with the cap.
Because he wears the cap and he's got the blonde hair. He looks a lot like him. Obviously, he doesn't wear the knickers like
I didn't realize he was 24, to be honest with you. I had no idea he was that young.
Yeah, he's a young dude. And this was a huge win for him. But, again, it speaks to what moves the needle in golf, and that's Tiger Woods.
Yep.
I mean, he shot 67, 68 Friday, Saturday. At one point Saturday, he was tied for the lead. And then just could not get a putt to fall.
Couldn't do it.
His stats tee to green were ridiculous. Yeah. And you could say, okay, maybe that's better for him going forward to Shinnecock. If you don't putt at the U.S. Open, you got no chance. Yeah. And that's been his problem a bunch of times going forward so far in his attempt to get back into the winner's circle. Well, if history is an indication, There is no history with the Vegas Golden Knights, so I
No,
don't know
there
if we
is
can say
not.
that. If history is any indication, the Vegas Golden Knights faced a must-win Game 4 tonight in the Stanley Cup Finals in Washington. Teams taking a 3-1 lead in the Stanley Cup Final have won 31 consecutive series and are 32-1 all-time since it went to a best-of-7 series in 1949.
Yeah, plus this postseason, these teams are kind of in unfamiliar territory. The Capitals are leading a Stanley Cup series for the first time, and Golden Knights have lost 2 straight games for the first time this postseason. So, we talked a lot about Marc-Andre Fleury. They were, as a team, they're 10-0 when allowing 2 or fewer goals and 3-5 when allowing 3 or more goals. Andre Fleury he has struggled a little bit in that category, and they were going like the goaltending was going, and it's been struggling just a little bit right now. Ovechkin leads the way with 14 goals. Kuznetsov has 12 goals. So, I mean, they got some scorers on the Capital side, no doubt about it.
They do, and I have a couple of friends of mine that are Caps fans, and they keep telling me, I can't believe my team is 2 games away. I can't believe my team is 2 games away. And my response to them wants to be, do you know how large those 2 games are?
Oh, I know.
I mean, I know you're doing the math in your head, and you're thinking, let's just remember that those 2 games are the hardest to win.
Monster
of all
won
time.
tonight. Been looking forward to it. Monster won tonight again.
But why it's so important for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the only team that ever came a 3-1 deficit in the finals, that happened back in 1942.
42?
Yeah, when the Toronto Maple Leafs did that.
I remember that well.
You were there. We were all there.
Sure.
I think we all have our program still from that game. Day 5 at the French Open is headlined by a 4th-round matchup between a couple of people that know each other, and one beats the other one on a regular basis. That would be Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova, and it has been all Serena in recent memory.
Well, and for Sharapova has faced her, and Sharapova is 2-19.
Yeah,
and has
not
lost the last 18 straight. Only won 3 sets. 3 sets.
Yeah.
In the last, I mean,
it's been a drubbing of unbelievable proportions.
And of course, what has come up a little bit is the rehashing of Sharapova's book that she had out, where she talked about when she beat Serena in Wimbledon finals years ago. Serena was sobbing and sobbing.
2004.
And I mean, explaining the sobbing like this real guttural sobbing. I mean, she was going into detail in the book about her sobbing. And these two, it doesn't seem, I think it was Sharapova that said maybe down the road at some point we could become friends, but it doesn't sound like they are right now, and it'll be real interesting where this one goes.
Well, look, if she's ever going to beat her again, you would think it might be
now
on clay when Serena's coming back
Still
from having
rusty,
the baby and isn't completely there. But, it's been one-sided for a reason, because Serena has just, Maria doesn't like to lift weights or do anything like that. That's not how she really prepares.
And Serena just overpowers you.
I will break you.
Yeah.
Basically what happens. But I think Serena still remembers.
This is such a crazy stat. She was number 151 in the latest WTA rankings, the lowest ranked player to reach the round of 16 in the last 30 years. But come on. I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah. There's been a lot of controversy about where Serena was and was not seeded, by the way, going forward, because just because you can go by the numbers, but let's also understand who you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Let's know your audience more than anything else. And Michael Wacha did it again.
So close.
By saying there it is. He almost came close. The St. Louis righty, for the second time in his career, lost a no-hit bid in the 9th inning when the pinch hitter Colin Moran led off the 9th inning for the Pirates with a single.
You go back to his rookie year in 2013. He was 1 out away as a rookie from a no-hitter when Washington's Ryan Zimmerman got an infield single to end that one. So close. Yeah. So that's got to be so tough.
Waka.
Nobody's saying a word. Everybody just kind of holding their breath to see what happens. They just see it get tossed out in the 9th inning. That's a tough call.
And by the way, I'm not trying to. You can't say Fozzie Bear waka enough. I'm 4 here. I'm going to do it again. Waka. So it's twice. He's lost 2 hitters. Waka. It makes all the sense in the world. So all those years ago, the Muppet Show and Fozzie Bear had this in mind when they went down that road. And we are going down that road. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is a big deal. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com. Mike, I ask you this one question. Is it over in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, listen, I think when they didn't win Game 1, you didn't want to really bury Cleveland and say it's over then, but you went in, they were the heavy underdogs, the second biggest underdog ever in an NBA Finals. So when they had that chance to get that split in Game 1, Well, you could see it in their eyes. They still had regulation to play. They still had 5 minutes to go, and it just didn't happen at all. So while you try and we heard all the talk about we put it behind us.
Sure you have.
J.R. Smith came out and finally said, well, I'm not really sure what was on my mind then, instead of saying, oh, I knew what the score was, at the end when everybody knew he didn't. So that was kind of an ugly thing. It's like, okay, how are you going to come out? And I have to admit, it didn't look pretty early, but being down only 4 after the first quarter,
that was the thing.
When Golden State was shooting well, especially there's so many layups and dunks, I thought, wow, okay, hang in there. But listen, Golden State's ancillary, their stars did what they were supposed to do. Their ancillary players played great, and they changed up defensively how they played LeBron, and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, one of the things that was sort of a dagger, the Oracle crowd chanting MVP when J.R. Smith had the ball every time.
Tough call.
But let's be honest, if you're chanting about the MVP for Golden State after Game 2, you have to talk about Steph Curry, and Steph knew he was feeling it.
That's a pretty cool deal to accomplish, knowing who's held the record for, what was that, probably 6-8 years. But at the end of the day, it's all about trying to get a win and doing whatever you can to make that happen. I always say, like, if we focus on that, good things happen individually, all across the board. So I never woke up and was like, all right, let's go get 9 threes and get the record. It's more so just about playing the game the right way, having good intentions out there on the court, and good things happen. So pretty special night, and hopefully some more special things happen to get 2 more wins.
I mean, it's just a way to not let a team get back in the game. As I mentioned, Cleveland that number 7 kept popping up. You get within 7. One possession of getting, to maybe 4, and making a little mini run to get there again. It was that 3. We talked about the threes he have. How about for his career? He has most threes in a season, most in a game, tied for most in a single postseason, most three-pointer field goals in a series, and most three-point field goals now in a finals game. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the greatest shooters of all time in this game, the way he's going right now, and the way he does it, the different ways that he's able to make these threes. These are just absolute daggers, and I'm telling you, they just suck the life out of you when you think you're making a run, and he just knocks one of those down and puts a lead back up. Again, you feel like everything you just did was kind of for nothing, because you go down and work to get maybe a 2, and then he comes down and daggers you with a 3, so you just lost a point, from the 2 different possessions, and you're like, okay, what the hell are we supposed to do here? Yeah,
and I think the thing that gets sort of lost in Steph Curry's game is obviously the 3 is the bright, shiny object, and it's such a dagger. But if you look at his box score last night, he had 8 assists. Mm-hmm. He had 7 rebounds. I mean, he did a little bit of everything. I mean, and the energy he provides. There's this great clip on that I saw on Twitter during the season where basically it was a night where Steph Curry, I think it was a couple of years ago actually, wasn't shooting well, and Steve Kerr pulled him over and said, "Look, let me show you this. See this? Look at he's plus 17, he's plus 6 because of the energy that you create on the floor, working through screens, running like crazy. I mean, it sounds like a second spectrum stat, but what he does, the energy that he brings to the floor, it feeds off of everybody.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody feeds off of the things he's able to do. And I think if we and I understand why you would on a night where he hits 9 3-pointers and sets the record and now has the most 3-pointers in NBA Finals history. But if we just focus on that, I think we're kind of diminishing the player that he is,
Yeah, the all-around player that he is. And the stars in this game, again, he had 33. Kevin Durant had 26. Klay Thompson was a big question mark during warm-ups, went back into the locker room. You weren't sure he was going to start. How much time could he give you? There were thoughts maybe 15.
He looked fine.
15, 20 minutes, 33 minutes, he gives you 20 points. But then you're going to get that out of those stars, right? But then how about between JaVale McGee, Jordan Bell, and Sean Livingston? They were 13 of 14.
Yeah, you can't have that.
McGee was 6 of 6, Livingston 5 of 5, Jordan Bell 2 of 3. And again, for those big guys, it was basically layups and dunks. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and here's the thing. And look, obviously, we all are focusing on the threes, and he did other things, but you cannot overstate the mental fatigue hitting those threes time and time again. You're right at the end of the first half in Game 1. He gets loose and hits that big 3, and you could see the body language of the Cavs. And last night, Draymond Green could see it as well in the Cavs.
I mean, I can't say I knew he had 9 threes or it was a finals record, but you definitely notice the looks on their faces when he hits some of the shots. It's like dagger after dagger. Play great defense, and he pull up and hit a 3 in your face. You definitely notice, the effect that it has on the opposing team.
I'm telling you, that's the comparison I make because I've been through it, and it's been one of the most demoralizing things. You're just about ready to get off the field on defense because you got them at 3rd and long, and they get a half a yard, just enough to move the chains. You get a whole new set of downs, and your shoulders just drop. You get that stare, and you're like, God, we were just about off the field for Cleveland. We're just about back in this game, and then he keeps you out.
Again, they won the third quarter, Mike.
They did, yeah.
Nobody ever wins the third quarter against Golden State. They played great in that third quarter, but they just don't have the horses.
No,
and if LeBron doesn't have, one of the greatest nights in the history of the NBA, people are like, what's wrong with LeBron? And we'll get into that a little bit later, because if you look at what LeBron did last night, the numbers that he put up, and people are like, well, he only played okay. It shows you where the bar is for this guy more than any other player in NBA history. Coming up, big changes in the NBA Finals that flew under the radar. Plus, why LeBron wants his team to stay uncomfortable. Really?
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Love scoring amazing hotel deals? Then you've got to get the Hotel Tonight app. Forget scrolling through never-ending lists of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can book up to 100 days in advance in top destinations and up to a week in advance everywhere else. Want to get those deals? Yeah, you do. Download the Hotel Tonight app now.
Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And, Mike, it's time for the Straight Talk. And it's brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. And we all felt that in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the Cavs blew it. I mean, they had a chance to steal a game and really make this thing a series. And they got lucky. I mean, they got a little bit lucky. They got lucky with the fact that they withstood a 50-point game from LeBron, the first time a guy had ever scored 50 points in an NBA Finals and lost. They got away with the fact that J.R. Smith didn't understand. His recollection now keeps changing.
Yes, it does.
But he does not quite understand what the time and place was and the score. So they got a little lucky. And they decided to work on that. And I think what Brian Windhorst, our NBA insider, said after the game summed it up best about what Golden State did much better in Game 2 as opposed to Game 1.
The Warriors changed a lot in their game plan in this game. Not just their starting lineup and their offensive strategy, but their defensive strategy. They were picking LeBron up full court. They were double teaming him. They were forcing the ball out of his hands. Essentially, Kenny, what they were doing is saying, we don't believe your teammates can beat us. And they were right tonight. And in the huddles, LeBron was really engaged, trying to get his teammates to move off the ball, to make countermeasures. He was really trying to rally them. And as the game went on, I just watched him get more and more defeated because his team wasn't keeping up with the countermeasures, and Curry just kept hitting the threes. And that's something that you fight against the Warriors is, when you play them on a night where they're awesome, which the Cavs have many times. I mean, they've lost 13 times with the Warriors in the playoffs in the last 4 years now. It's really a mental challenge, and it's another reason why Game 1 hurts so much, because when you have an opportunity, you have to get it, because you have nights like tonight.
The thing I like about Golden State, and the thing you have to remember is they have the great scorers that we know.
Yes.
We think of Golden State, you think of these 4 stars and how they can score, but they play defense. They do a nice job of playing defense, and they got the win in Game 1, and I'm sure they felt a little lucky in Game 1, obviously the way it ended, and you don't stand pat. They just, okay, we need to change some things up. LeBron got 51. We still got the win. We've seen that time and time again with the greats like Jordan, where they go off and do their thing, but they still lose the game. So in this case, but Cleveland really had every chance to win it, but them saying, okay, let's change it up, as Windhorst said. Let's pick him up. Let's make him work a little more. Let's get the ball then. Let's get the ball out of his hands. And what's interesting is LeBron getting frustrated about everybody else then not moving. And what's odd is this isn't really an offense where you see that a whole lot anyway.
No.
You see a lot of that isolation stuff and guys not moving, especially with LeBron with the ball. So it's difficult to say, okay, all right, now I'm getting picked up here at full quarter. I'm getting doubled and have to get rid of the ball. You guys got to move more. Now, yeah, you do have to move more. You have to figure that out, but they're not used to doing that. Give Golden State a lot of credit. For saying we're not standing pat even though we're the best team in the NBA. We know we need to switch some things up, and this is something we switched up last night.
Well, they know they probably are not going to withstand another 50-point game from LeBron and find a way to win. So they made him work for it. But it was interesting, Mike, as much as what Wendy said there is true, I just was watching that game last night, was amazed at how often LeBron was actually getting to the rim.
Yeah.
I mean, the knock on him has always been, well, sometimes he settles for the mid-range jumpers. Well, this entire playoff series, he has been taking it hard to the hole, and it still wasn't enough. And LeBron was asked about, because you heard Windhorst say he could see LeBron sort of imploring his teammates, give me more, and how it sort of wore on him in the game. LeBron admitted afterwards, losing is not good.
I mean, it sucks to lose. It sucks when you go out there and you give it everything that you have, and and you prep, and your mind is in it and your body is in it. And you come out on a losing end, but nothing would ever take the love of the game away from me. I think the competition is something I live for, something I wake up every day and train my body for and train my mind for. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks to lose, that's for sure, but it definitely won't stop me from, preparing, to be better the next day.
So to sum it up, I believe LeBron thinks it sucks to lose.
Yeah, I would say that's where we are. You look at game one and game two, they took 9 less shots in game two than they did in game one. LeBron took 12 less shots, 32 in game one, 20 in game two. They won the rebounding by only 1 rebound where they destroyed him in game one, but they still, again, had 16 offensive rebounds.
Right.
They had 19 offensive rebounds in game one. They're getting the ball. They're getting some of those second chances, but overall less chances than the first game. And the only other one, that shot over 50% is Tristan Thompson, shot 5 of 8. Everybody else, off a bit as far as from a percentage point is concerned. And Golden State, they were on. So, I mean, where do you go from here? That's the thing. I mean, we could sit here and talk about X's and O's. And from a Golden State standpoint, you just heard Wendy again say they did change some things up from the defensive side. For Cleveland, offensively, I mean, you just wonder who's going to hit their shots because guys are getting looks. When they do move the ball and find an open guy, you just say the shots have to fall, and the shots aren't falling.
4 of the 5 starters for the Cavs scored in double figures. 4 of the 5. Let's be honest, that's not very common for them, okay?
No, it's not.
But you look at Kevin Love's line, I mean, it's a 22-point night, but it's an ugly 22-point night. He went 7 of 18 in scoring 22. He was 3 of 8 for threes. He made all 5 of his 3 throws. He did get a double-double, but it wasn't a dominant.
No, George Hill was good early in the first half, and then he slowed down. Where is J.R. Smith?
He got 5 points.
2 of 9 is crazy. And I hear people talking about, this
dribbling out the clock. That's where J.R. is.
And I hear people talking about LeBron, and there's some issues with LeBron, too, that we're going to get to about he and Love and complaining about the officials and not running back and such. But people saying, LeBron, he's got excuses. He's got the team he wants. No. I don't think LeBron has the team he wants.
Yeah, I'm so tired of people saying that.
LeBron got a team that was better than the team he had at the beginning of the year.
Correct.
But LeBron's teammates at the beginning of the year where you were trying to catch lightning in a bottle with some of the injured, aged players that they had, correct?
Yep.
You were trying to get, and that's what you're doing with
Derrick
LeBron.
Rose, Dwayne Wade.
1 year at a time trying to catch that lightning in a bottle. It wasn't working. So they basically got a new team at the trade deadline. And everybody says it's the team LeBron wanted. No, I bet if he had his pick, it would be a different team.
Yes.
It was a better team than what he had, and that's what he had to do. That's what Cleveland had to do if they were going to have any kind of shot at the championship. They had to get younger and more athletic. Nobody said they picked up these great players that was going to match with a Golden State team, but they did get better and more athletic. But it didn't mean they became the best team in the league, but they were better than what they were.
No, I mean, Clarkson and Hood are basically non-factors. Larry Nance gives you effort, and you're counting on George Hill to give you a little more. And I think when people say, he got the team he wanted Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith to get their money after the championship in 2016. So that part I get, but no, this is not the team he wants. It's the team he has. I mean, there's a completely different thing. And I do want to point this out because Any other finals performance by a guy who has 29 points on 50% shooting from the floor, has 13 assists, and is 1 rebound away from a triple-double, you'd say, God, that guy played great.
Yeah.
He played great. For LeBron James, you say, yeah, he played okay.
Yeah, they say it's not good enough by LeBron.
It's not good enough. And look, you're right. They didn't win the game, so clearly it wasn't good enough. But if we're honest with ourselves, let's just understand the prism through which we're watching LeBron James. There's a very good chance, Mike, a very good chance, if he plays long enough, he's going to top Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record for the most points in NBA history. And there's a very good chance, Mike, he's going to be one of the top 5 assist guys in NBA history. You go look at the top 5 assist guys in NBA history. Find out where they are on the scoring list all time. They're nowhere to be found, okay? So you can look to LeBron and say, well, he's not doing this and he's not doing that. And there's a part of you that may be right, but there's a large part of you that's saying, man, you don't understand what you're seeing.
Appreciate what you're seeing.
Just understand what we're getting from this guy, because there's nobody like him, and there may never be anybody like him again.
Are there some issues? Yes, there are some issues that we'll get into as well. But you just see guys when he gets dishes to their teammate and just say, "Gotta fall, gotta drop," and they just don't drop, and you just like, and then you're playing against Golden State, man. I mean, Golden State. They're going to be on this run as long as they keep this crew together, however long that's going to be.
It's 1-on-5 sometimes.
Yeah.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you. Glad you're with us on a Monday morning after Game 2 of the NBA Finals, where it does feel like we're in the final countdown of the NBA season. Look, I think that the Cavs will find a way to win at least one game at home and prolong this thing a little bit. But before we get into what we had teased, Mike, I do want to bring this up because our great researcher, Brett, our fine researcher who put the size in seismology all those years ago. I alluded to the point of LeBron is very likely, I think, if he plays long enough, going to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record and has a chance to be top 5 assists of all time. Well, right now he's currently 11th all time in assists and 7th in points. So let's take a look at that from the other perspective. All the top assist guys, right? Right now he is 7th in points and he's just a few assists away from being in the top 10. The John Stockton is the all-time leading assist guy. You want to take a gander where he is in the all-time point list?
I don't think very high.
45th.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd is 2nd in assists. You know where he is in points?
Where?
81st.
Okay.
Steve Nash is 3rd in assists. You know where he is in points?
Not up there.
83rd.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is in the top 5 in assists. You know where he is in points?
Probably a little higher, but I'm not thinking as high as some people would think.
77th.
Yeah.
And then there's Mark Jackson, who is 4th all-time in assists. He's 219th in points. So just to understand what we're talking about when we're talking about LeBron, he has a chance to be the number 1 all-time leading scorer. If he plays long enough, I think he's going to get it. And then he's going to be a top 5 assist guy. That's never happened before. That has never, ever happened. That complete package of a player. And you have to sort of understand the way you're looking at him and what he's able to do. However, one thing that I think is fair is something that Tristan Thompson said after the game, and a lot of fans are tired of it when they see it happen, and Tristan says, I'm with you.
I'm over the referee. I'm over the referee At the end of the day, if you don't give effort and you don't play hard, you never give yourself a chance to win. At the end of the day, you can control, you can control. You know what I'm saying? So just go out and play. Go out and play, miss or make. You think you got fouled, you think it's a travel, you got to get back on defense and communicate. And that's what Golden State wants. They want you to hang back, complain to the refs, and complain because they're going to come down and knock a 3 in your face. So we can't be worried about that. Miss or make, we got to get back on the defensive end.
That is just a great point by Tristan Thompson, getting back to basketball. And it can be difficult because it's frustrating. When especially if you're LeBron, everything's on your shoulders. You're trying to make something happen. He does complain a lot. But, a lot of players today, Draymond Green complains a lot. But he's on a winning team, so it doesn't get noticed as much. And I'm not saying the complaining is bad at times. It looks bad at times. But when it is bad, is just what Tristan Thompson is saying. You see it out of LeBron. You see it at times out of Kevin Love as well. They complain about not getting a call, and they don't get back. They're too busy complaining. They don't get back on defense. Next thing you know, Golden State comes down, whips the ball around. They get an open three, and they got three more on you. So what Tristan is saying is, hey, bad calls happen. Ty Lue said he's done talking about the rest. He got teed up for stepping on the court on a play last night. Bad calls do happen. And it can be frustrating when they don't go your way, especially when you think there were a couple of awful calls in the beginning. Out of bounds plays were ridiculous. I have no idea what the refs were looking at. But Tristan is right. As hard as it is, you got to be professional about it. You can complain, but get your butt back.
Yeah.
Don't make it 5-on-4. Don't give the other team numbers because you're complaining about something. And LeBron definitely does that at times.
Kevin Love seems to do it a little bit too. But to your point, I'm glad you mentioned the Ty Lue play because Ty Lue got a technical because LeBron James was tackled.
Yeah.
Tackled by three players, and they didn't call a foul.
Yeah.
It was on a breakaway early on. I think it was in the second quarter. Breakaway for the rim. It was a long lead pass, I think, from Kevin Love, as LeBron was ahead of everybody, and he was literally tackled by three players, and he wasn't fouled. Now, Ty Lue compounded it by getting a technical, but at some point you have to say to yourself, if three guys tackle my guy, and that's still not a foul, what is a foul? And the refs are not why the Cavs lost. The refs aren't pulling for either team. That's a joke. That's insane. They're just bad.
The refs have been, no doubt about it.
They've just been bad.
As I said after game one, I wasn't picking a side on who was, a team got favored. They're just flat out not doing well.
Yeah.
They're not. But
Tristan's point is right.
It's absolutely right. There's a time to worry about it. It's not when the other team's going down and has numbers and you're complaining about everything. You can't do that, and it just happens too much.
Yeah, it does happen too much. And, Tristan, to his credit, there's a couple of times it looked like he got raked, and he didn't say anything about it. So, look, it's not one side or the other when it comes to the refs, but at this point, you know what they are, and you know what they aren't, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So with that in mind, I think Tristan's mindset is absolutely perfect. So Tristan has said something that is very true. LeBron has also said something that is very true, and we'll get to that a little bit later about what the mindset of his team needs to be. But I got to tell you, Mike, somebody else said something that was very true over the weekend. And if this guy was just average at one thing, I might have been able to update my favorite thing in the world. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But there's a lot to get to. Mm-hmm. There's nuance that has not yet been discovered, but through the great research of Brett and our collective genius.
Ah, yes.
Our collective genius. I'm not saying that on my own.
Brett did all the work.
Yes, I just said, hey, what about this? And he did all the calculating. We'll get to that. We'll get to that as we stay with us, Golic and Wingo, on a Monday morning.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com. At Trex, we know there's a place for wood in your backyard. We recommend the fire pit. But when it comes down to choosing the right material for your next deck, look no further than the superior beauty and durability of the world's #1 premium decking brand. Trex delivers the look of wood without all of the work and the worry, and it's made from 95% recycled materials, which makes it the right choice for your backyard 100% of the time. To learn how to make Trex your next deck, visit Trex.com to order samples.
Glad you're with us on a Monday morning. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here. I don't know if they were dirty deeds, but they were deeds done for sure by the Golden State Warriors to take a 2-0 lead in the NBA Finals. And, of course, now we get a chance for the series to shift back to Cleveland for Game 3 on Wednesday, and we will do a deep dive on that. And we'll be heading to Cleveland.
Yes, we will.
Later today.
Right
Very
after the show today.
that.
Looking forward to it. Do our show tomorrow from Progressive Field there in Cleveland, but obviously talk about what the Indians are doing, certainly what's going on in the NBA Finals. You have the final mini camps going for teams right now, and oh my gosh, in New England, everybody relax. The two guys are going to show up for mini camp.
Gronk and Brady are going to be there.
But yeah, you get these last mini camps. It's kind of the end of the off-season program in the NFL, so we'll get into that as well as guys go off on their own for about a month and a half, and coaches hope they don't get any phone calls in that time. You're like that parent when your kid goes away to college and you're by the phone, you pray the phone doesn't ring, when all of a sudden you guys are, coaches love when they had the players in the building. And now for really the last week or two of June and about the first 3 weeks of July, they don't. And that's always an interesting time.
Listen, interesting is certainly a word for it, because the one thing coaches hate is players with free time and disposable income. Yeah. Sometimes that can be problematic. But back to the NBA Finals. The Warriors' Game 2 win is what everybody's talking about. It's brought to you by Lowe's. Pros in the know start with Lowe's. Go to lowesforpros.com for details. So we've been here before, right, Mike? This is the fourth straight year that the Cavs and Warriors have met, and this is the third straight year in the NBA Finals that the Cavs find themselves down 2-0. So I got to give a tip of the cap to the reporter who asked this question, because, hey, you're looking for anything at this point to get a unique and interesting answer out of someone like LeBron. So a tip of the cap to the reporter, as well as a tip of the cap to his response.
LeBron, you've been in this situation 3 years in a row now, 0-2. Can you draw back on some of those experiences in terms of your strategy going forward?
No.
Well, there you go.
There it is. There it was.
No. They're all new experiences.
No. But thanks for trying.
Well, I really think in this game, obviously back in Cleveland being a key, being at home, is, listen, if both teams play at their best, Golden State's winning this. We know that. So there has to be a part of not only Cleveland playing well, which they certainly can do at times, not consistently enough, and Golden State not playing so well. And this is the time that they do that. When they get up it. Now, maybe not after game one, because they really kind of got lucky. So it wasn't the fat and happy thought of now game two, they're up 2-0. They win by 19 or whatever they won by in this second game. So they're feeling a little better about themselves, up 2-0 in the finals. Going to be difficult for Cleveland to come back. This is that game where, and now they're on the road where Golden State maybe has a hiccup and Cleveland gets one, and then we go from there. We'll see. But this is no doubt, this is the time for Cleveland right now, while Golden State's up 2-0, to make that move. You know, still, I as much as you want to say you got to put it away from you, that sting of game one is still in the back of their mind somewhat on what could have been.
You know what they need right now, Cleveland needs? They need a Stephen A. Smith mixtape. C-Town, stand up! That's what they need right now. And by the way, we are going to get someone that is going to be the hype man for Cleveland that will get them ready for game 3.
We will.
That's all I'm going to tell you. But on Wednesday's show, be prepared, because we're going to have the ultimate hype man who will tell them what they need to do and get them in the mind frame to win and make this maybe a little bit of a series. We'll get to that later, but first, let's start with what's trending. And third time is the charm indeed for 24-year-old Bryson DeChambeau. He three-putted the 18th hole to force the playoff with a couple of other players, and then he made par on the first playoff hole, then rolled in a 12-foot birdie putt on the third attempt on the 18th to win the Memorial, his second ever career PGA
Well,
win.
Him and Kyle Stanley were playing that 18th hole, for the win. They were both 16 under.
Yes.
On was 15 under, just kind of watching. He was already done, waiting to see if both these guys would fall back to him. And unfortunately, both these guys kind of threw up on themselves a little bit on the 18th hole and three-putted.
Tends to happen.
And DeChambeau with that 10-footer to win it. Had that chance, but got the chance. The first playoff hole, all three were in it. Stanley was basically out of it. Not basically, was out of it. Could have picked up at some point on the first playoff hole. And then DeChambeau, who I did not know was 24.
Yeah,
I did not know he was that young. You're talking about the young golfers out there. And you had an interesting little tidbit about him for anybody, even the hackers like me that golf on the weekends know the different sizes of the irons. Yeah. He has them all cut to the exact same size.
They're all the same length. Every iron he has is the length of a 6-iron. So his wedge and his 6-iron and his 9-iron and his 5-iron and his 3-iron, every iron he has in his bag is the exact same size. His thought process is, hey, why do I have to worry about making 8 different swings with 8 different irons? Let me just make one swing with every iron. It's kind of a fascinating approach.
I am getting a set of clubs, and I'm getting them cut, every one the size of my driver. Every single one of them.
All right,
my sand wedge will be the size of my driver.
That might be problematic. Yes. I'm letting you know. That might be a little problematic, but go for it.
Do you really think it'll hurt my game?
No, probably not. Oh, my gosh. Meanwhile, day 9 of the French Open, headlined by a fourth-round matchup between Maria Sharapova and Serena Williams. No love lost between these two, and it has been dominant over the recent memory for Serena Williams.
18 straight wins over Sharapova, the longest active win streak versus a single opponent. She also, of that, won 36 of the 39 sets they played in that time.
Is that good?
I mean, that is about as total domination as you can get. But if there is a time, now Sharapova's been back for a little while now off her drug suspension for, 12, 15 months, something like that in that area. And you have Serena just coming back. So if there is a time to get one back on Serena, this may be it.
Yeah.
Serena in her first match, was down 0-3 in the first set, 0-2 in the second set before she came back and won. Now here she is in the third round against Sharapova. It's such an odd stat. She had ranked 451 in the world. She's the lowest ranked player to reach the round of 16 in the last 30 years. That's such a throwaway stat as far as I'm concerned. What I can say is these two, no love lost between them, and this is really a chance for Sharapova. For Serena, this is as rusty as she is going to be unless there's another long layoff for her.
Correct.
This is about it because she's only going to get more, competitive, exactly, and consistent is the word I was looking for.
Either one of those would have worked.
It would have worked as the matches go on. So this is a time for Sharapova, and I'm still betting against her.
Well, look, you're right. You mentioned she's lost 18 straight. Let's put this in some kind of perspective. She has not beaten Serena Williams since she was 17 years old.
Yeah.
Okay? She was 17 the last time she beat Serena. She beat her at Wimbledon final, obviously, and later on that year at the WTA Tour Championship. So the last time Maria Sharapova was able to scratch out a victory over Serena, she was a teenager.
Yeah.
And she hasn't won since. Oh, and there's our guy.
Waka waka.
Michael Wacha came close once again. The St. Louis righty, for the second time in his career, lost a no-hit bid in the ninth inning. This time at home at Busch against the Pirates when a pinch hitter led off the ninth inning with a single.
Unbelievable. And you go back to his rookie year in 2013, this was even closer. He was 1 out away. This one yesterday was a leadoff in the ninth. In 2013, he was 1 out away when Washington's Ryan Zimmerman got an infield single.
Yeah,
I didn't even that Chris shot an infield single.
The worst.
To end the no-hitter. That's got to be so tough. And plus, as a rookie, man, you got to be so wide-eyed about that situation. And you lose it, and you lose it again here. Knocking on the door, I guess, to one, but who knows?
Listen, it's got to be a little frustrating, but here was his manager, Mike Matheny, afterwards.
Really happy for him. It's so close. I think I was in there more nervous than he was about it, but really wanted to see it happen. But it was just an amazing start.
Amazing stuff, and Mike Matheny and the Cardinals got the win, which is the most important thing.
Right.
Wacha, for the second time in his career, loses a no-hit bid in the ninth inning. All right, Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever. And it's interesting that we played that Mike Matheny bite because he said, I'm close. Talking about Michael Wacha, he's so close.
Right.
We've heard that quite a bit since 2013 from one person, and that is Tiger Woods. And listen, there's only one reason he didn't have a chance to win the Memorial over the weekend. It was because he could not putt at all. Here's Tiger after a disappointing Memorial tournament. He's won 5 times in 16 tries. He was 9 over on Friday and Saturday, but even par on Thursday and Sunday. Saturday at one point was actually tied for the lead and then had a couple of bogeys and fell back. And here was Tiger lamenting about his putting.
I just need to hit better putts. This week I didn't feel comfortable with my lines, and my feel was a little bit off. Consequently, I missed a bunch of putts, but I hit it really good this week. So that's a positive going into Shinnecock, where ball striking is going to be a must. Obviously, way different golf shots around the greens. Lots of bump and runs, and putters or spinners. It'll be very different. But overall, if I hit the ball like this, I'll be pleased in 2 weeks.
He's talking about Shinnecock Country Club, where the U.S. Open is going to be played in Long Island. And, yeah, it will be a different golf course, but the
thing is important there, too, isn't it?
It is, but you have to put it in the fairway. You have to hit greens in regulation. So you're right, but, yeah, that's the thing you take away from it. But, you hear him say, I just didn't hit any putts. Mike, it's ridiculous, okay? There are all kinds of stats that we can look at. And our fine seismologist and researcher, Brett, has put together an amalgamation of them. Tiger missed 7 putts inside of 5 feet.
Yes, he did.
The field average was 1.5 missed putts inside 5 feet. So on those putts alone, he basically gave away almost 5.5 strokes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, he finished 6 strokes behind the leader. Then there's this. I know it's kind of a second spectrum stat.
Well, you're really working here, aren't you?
Just hold on with me.
Okay.
There's a series of stats called stroke gained when a player is compared to the field in a certain category. Tiger was first in the field in strokes gained from tee to green. In other words, striping the ball off the tee beautifully, hitting greens in regulation. He was first in stroke gained on approach shots. In other words, he was dialed in.
He was.
He was getting it closer more often than anybody else in the field. He was third in stroke gains around the green. In other words, you miss the green, so you need to get up and down to either make a birdie on a par 5 or make sure you salvage a par and avoid a bogey. So let's run through that. First in the field in strokes gained tee to green. Best. Hitting the ball pure. First in stroke gained on approach. In other words, he was hitting his irons closer more often than anybody else in the field. Third best in terms of getting up and down when you miss the green. Those are all amazing stats. He was 72nd of 73 players in strokes gained putting. Second to last. Second to last. Now, according to the strokes gained putting, which again, I get it, can be a little second spectrum-y.
Yes, it can.
He lost 7.7 strokes on the field average. He finished 6 strokes behind the lead. So if he had putted just average, I'm talking mediocre, middle of the pack, he probably wins this thing going away.
Oh, stop it.
He does.
Just
don't deny me.
Lost by 6 strokes.
Oh, he looked good. Yeah, I got a Tiger folder, okay? Tiger Woods, yo. So
take all the, let's see, he was, where is he? Tied for what, 20, I'm trying to,
blah, 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 blah.
Tied for 23rd. Let's look at all the guys above him and below the 3 guys at 15 under. Let's whip up some sort of math process for them.
It's war.
And see if they would have won as well.
It's war.
Okay?
Brett, you're with me, right?
Seriously.
Brett, you're with me here, right?
That's where we're going?
It's only one category. We're talking about one thing.
Yeah! Yeah, Brett!
Boy, you guys are unbelievable. Seriously.
Teach him up.
Really?
Teach him up.
He finished 6 strokes back, tied for 23rd.
Hit him again, Brett. Hit him again.
Oh, my gosh.
Hit him again.
Stop it. I mean, the first couple of tournaments he played back, you couldn't find the fairway. What if in the next tour, what if in the U.S. Open he can't find the fairway?
Well, then he's never going to win.
Okay. Yeah. So if he doesn't putt well, he's never going to win. You know what you have to do to win a tournament? You got to put it all together. You can't bring in math. The day after,
I love
and say, you know what? Let me pull out the all these theorems and what are you stats doing? And things, and let me add and subtract and multiply and divide, and Tiger wins.
These are facts.
Come on,
these are facts.
What facts of what?
These are facts of math.
6 strokes back.
Yes, and if he had putted average, he would have won.
We're candies and nuts. We'd have a hell of a party if he could putt.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you put it in your Tiger file?
Yes, I did.
Man, only if he putted better. Yeah. Tiger, if he putted better at the Memorial, would have won.
He putted like he'd never seen a green before. By the way, just so you understand, like Bryson DeChambeau was 58th in driving accuracy and still won the tournament.
And he won!
You know why?
How the hell did he win the tournament being 58 in driving accuracy?
Because he putted better.
Oh, because he putted well. You know when he putted well? When he had to.
Correct.
And got it done.
Correct.
Listen,
Tiger was terrible.
I want to see Tiger win as bad as a lot of other people, but let's not math his way into a victory, okay?
First in field in strokes gained tee to green. First in strokes gained on approach. Third in strokes gained around the green. 72nd and 78th
tied
putting.
For 23rd in the tournament.
That's true. Okay. Oh, come on, Tiger, get it together.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, Golic and Wingo here with you. So I have to ask, how was your weekend?
My weekend was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was absolutely
Anything
wonderful.
interesting, unique
No,
happened?
did yard work and such. You know, we did a little bit of, that kind of thing.
Well, you and Stink are like that. You guys, you work the lawn.
Work the yard. The wife and I both work the yard, walking the dogs.
I'm happy to pay someone to work my lawn.
Kind of thing. I know. Yeah. Kind of got our hands dirty a little bit in that whole deal. So, around the house type of a deal. How about you?
I got my hands dirty.
Yeah.
And a flame suit a little dirty as well. So, anyway, I was in Detroit for the Detroit Grand Prix. A good buddy of mine who helps do stuff for the IndyCar series. He wanted both of us to get out there, but you apparently were too busy in your yard.
I had mulching to do.
You had mulch.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been better for me to mulch when all things were said and done. So I went out there and I got to ride in what's called the 2-seater. And the 2-seater is really interesting because you can't shoot with LeBron in an NBA final and know what it feels like. You can't play a PGA Tour event with Tiger Woods or somebody else and know what that feels like. You're doing a Pro-Am, but it's a completely different circumstance. But they have a 2-seater on the IndyCar series where basically you sit behind the driver in the car going around the track, and you hit speeds of upwards of 170, 180 miles an hour.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said they wanted me to come as well. What if I did? Where was I going to sit?
They had two
on your
two-seaters.
lap?
No, they have two-seaters.
Okay.
You would have had another car.
Okay.
You were not sitting on my lap.
Okay.
And I most assuredly was not sitting on yours.
I was going to say, they maybe had a 3-seater.
No, exactly.
A sidecar.
A sidecar. Sidecar's the IndyCar series. Not when you're trying to get around the wall with that sidecar sticking out.
I'm sorry.
Probably not your best bet. So anyway, we're going up there, and you get a little trepidatious when you put on the flame retardant suit and the flame retardant mask and the helmet and everything else. And I'm like, we're good, right? This has never been a problem. Like, no, we've done this 17,000 times. We've never lost anybody.
Right.
All right. So we get in the car, and by the way, my driver was Ari Leindyke Jr.
There you go.
Who you and Junior know from
The Bachelor.
From The Bachelor. Mm-hmm. I prefer to think of him as his career. You like him as his side gig.
There you go.
So, and by the way, he won the truck race before we got in the thing.
Okay.
So then I'm a little concerned because, wait, you've already run a race today? Are you a little tired? Shouldn't you be focusing on getting me around this lap very safely?
Yeah, I'm sure that was his single focus.
Yeah. It was my focus.
Oh, I know it was yours.
So anyway, they say we're going to take 2 laps. We're going to go first just to warm up the tires. You go back and forth, all that kind of stuff to warm the tires up. We'll hit it about 140 on the back stretch. But then the second, when all the pace cars and everybody else gets off, that's when we'll really open it up.
So it's the pace car and then all the other cars.
And then the field. Okay. Right, exactly.
All right.
So we go out first, and we're going back and forth, getting the tires. And I'm like, is he doing this just to make me sick? Because it's right, left, right, left.
Right.
He's just warming up the tires. And then he punches it around a couple of the corners. And the speed is, I've flown with the Blue Angels.
Mm-hmm.
I did a bobsled run. That was intense at the Olympic. It was crazy. The speed was manageable, but the cornering was unreal. Like they have these signs that say you're 300, 200, 100 feet away from the turn, so you know when you need to start slowing down. He wasn't slowing down until we got inside 100, and we're zooming around the corner. And then he opened it up on the backstretch, and we got up to about 140, I think it was. And so I'm thinking, this is pretty good. And we're getting ready to go to the next turn. And then these guys come up and they hold on the track and they hold up their arms.
Guys run on the track, holding you up.
Hold up, way down. So we pull in. So I'm thinking, okay, they're clearing the track for us to go around. And they're like, yeah, we had an accident. I'm like, what do you mean you had an accident? The pace car spun out behind you. If you're seeing it on TV right now, the pace car is the blue car that just spun out. I am literally right in front of them in the red car, weaving back and forth. And they're like, yeah, this never happens before.
I've never seen it happen before.
The pace car spun out.
For the visual, you're used to just seeing a pace car lead all the cars.
Right.
Like at Indy 500, Victor Oladipo was driving the pace car, but you were ahead of the pace car.
In
so
that
you
red
see,
car two-seater right there.
For those that are listening on radio, that he was in the 2-seater that went first. The pace car made the turn around the corner like way too fast.
Crashed right into the wall.
And then just spun and crashed into a wall. It was and that's like a professional driver driving the pace car.
Driver.
Isn't
and by
it?
the way, the guy in the pace car was one of the GM executives. I mean, that car was about $140,000.
All these
they
cars,
took into the wall.
all the cars ready to race are just stopped behind the pace car as it, threw debris all over the place.
Yeah.
That was amazing. At first, when I heard the pace car crash, I thought it was you because I thought you were in the pace car. I'm like, oh my God, Trey crashed the pace car.
First of all, they would never let me drive.
Well, they let Victor Oladipo drive, didn't they? Didn't he drive the pace car?
I don't know if he drove it or if he was in the pace car.
Oh, I think he was in the driver's seat unless it was, a European car with the driver's on the other side. He was driving.
So, but the funny thing was, I put out on Twitter this picture of me in my flame retardant suit, about to turn a few with Ari Leindyke Jr. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh my gosh!
Apparently, a lot could possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
So somehow I have to believe this is all my fault.
I don't know how it's your fault, dude. Behind you crashed. I want to know what was in his mind. I want to hear a statement from him.
I did some of the video that we played. You could hear on one of the channels. It's like he didn't know the 2-seater was there.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, did they not know that we were going to be out there?
It did kind of look like when he made the turn and saw you. It's like he thought you were closer than you really were.
Yeah.
But again, the guy's a professional driver. He's used to cars being inches away from him. he like slams the brakes and doesn't turn into the wall. I was like, what is he doing?
Well, it's so funny too because we're in there and they're like, oh, we've done this 17,000 times. There's never been an issue. And then we get back into the first lap. He goes, yeah, the pace car just crashed. That never happened before. I'm like, well, wait,
pace car crash.
Maybe I should not be involved again, so this doesn't happen again.
That was bad.
So it was interesting. And luckily it was in front of us.
Yeah.
But it was pretty intense. We should do it. You should get out there.
I've done that. At the Indy, I've driven in the pace car. We got up to like a 180 on a Corvette, which is unbelievable. When you come out of a turn and you're right by the wall, when you could reach out and touch the wall, it's incredible. So forgetting the racing part of it, Ari Leyendijk, did you ask him what went on like in the fantasy suite as he was coming to the end of The Bachelor and got to spend the night with a couple of the women and that kind of thing?
Let's just put it this way. He said we all make mistakes. But he and his fiancée, I believe, I don't think they're married yet, just put down
whoa fantasy suite music.
They just closed on a house.
Oh,
so
really?
The happy couple is still together.
Okay.
Because I asked him, I said, a lot of these things are just all for show and the couples really never get together. Jordan Rogers and Liz are still together. There's a couple. He's like, we're going forward. Everything looks great.
Except with Ari, the original couple was supposed to be the happy couple.
Mulligan.
The couple.
Mulligan. The word Becca did not come up. The word Becca did not come up.
Okay. All right.
I just said, so how
just
did
wondering.
We're all fine. They just closed on a house, and thankfully we didn't get any closer to the wall.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and we are delighted to be joined now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by Jason Sobel, golf writer for the Action Network, formerly here at ESPN, also working for the Golf Channel. He joins us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Okay, Jason, first and foremost, help a brother out here, okay? I'm trying to teach Mike the ways of golf and why putting is kind of a big deal, and he's having none of it with the fact that Tiger was put on a strike show from tee to green, but could not putt. It looked like if he fell out of boat, he wouldn't hit water. If he had putted average, where's Tiger Woods? What are we talking about with him today?
Well, good morning, fellas. Good to talk to you again. And, Trey, you're right. Putting is important. But as we've learned from the analytics over the last few years that have come out, it's not as important as long game. The old drive for show, putt for dough axiom actually isn't really true. So when I look at what Tiger Woods did over this past weekend, I'm actually more encouraged by the fact that he's hitting the ball really, really well and not putting as well. Putting, I've always thought, is easier to fix than trying to go through swing changes, which we've seen take years for Tiger Woods to develop. So the fact the swing is looking dialed in right now, I think is very encouraging going forward. And not to get all Brandel Chambly on you, but to my naked eye, the putting stroke doesn't look yippy. We've seen Tiger Woods hit yippy chips in the past, and you almost have to look away. You don't even want to watch him hit those chips. He's just missing putts. At some point, he's going to make a few tweaks in his setup. He's going to make a few tweaks in how he's rolling through the ball, and he's going to fix it.
Jason, I think it's a clear rule here. No one goes full Chambly. That's a fact.
Oh, there you go. And Trey, I never said putting wasn't important.
Yes, you did. You said putting doesn't matter at all. I heard you say it. You said it 5 times.
You know what's more important?
No, you said it. You said it. You said it. You said it.
Do you know what's more important?
You said it.
the final score.
That's true.
Of which Tiger was 6 back there. This was kind of let's talk about finishing up this tournament first, Jason. Kind of an ugly finish. It's kind of like who was going to be less ugly last, correct?
Yeah, I think so. And like I tweeted about Tiger after he was done yesterday, this is going to be disappointing and encouraging and frustrating and promising and above all, really, really confusing for Tiger because we've never seen a performance like this from him where he had one part of his game so dialed in and another part of his game so far from being even close to average. I mean, I think you guys mentioned it during the update there that Tiger was ranked number 1 for the week in strokes gained tee to green. He was ranked number 1 in approach shots proximity to the hole, which means he's hitting it closer than anybody. And he was ranked second to last in the entire 73-man field in putting. So it's not hard to figure out what he needs to work on. But look, Tiger talks about the process so much. Tiger talks more process than any Philadelphia basketball fans out there. And this is part of the process. And it was always going to be this way. One week, he's not going to be able to keep driver on the planet. The next week, he can't hit a green. The next week, the wedges aren't working for him. And this past week, it was the putter. If this is a prolonged situation, if we've seen him for the last 3 months, he's hitting it really well, and he can't make a putt, I'd say, okay, there's a situation, there's a problem here. He needs to figure it out. But just 1 week like this, I'm not too concerned as someone who is bullish on Tiger over the short-term future.
Okay, so we'll get back to Tiger in a minute, but let's talk about the winner of this thing, Bryson DeChambeau, and it's Jason Sobel from the Action Network, golf writer there, joins us. Jason, he's one of the more interesting guys out there on tour for a couple of reasons. A, if he wore knickers, he'd be a dead ringer for Payne Stewart. I mean, there's just no question about that with the cap that he wears. But the fact that he has all his irons cut to the same length as a 6-iron, you know, he is a guy who really, you can get lost in the numbers, as sort of I did with the Tiger putting thing. I concede that. And the sort of all the things that you can worry about in a golf swing. He's a numbers guy. You had that great tweet talking about him, what precipitation or whatever he was talking about. But he is a guy that takes the analytics to a whole new level. Let's stick with the 6-iron thing. Why do you think more people don't do that? Because it makes sense to me. Why make a million different swings with different clubs? Have them all to the same length, and you're making just one repetitive swing.
Well, first of all, this guy is a different cat, and I like it. I like the fact that not all players on the PGA Tour need to be sort of cookie cutters, need to look like they're straight off a TrackMan machine and are dialed in with the exact same swing. So the fact that he's unique, he's a little bit different, I think should be celebrated. I think that's really cool that we have different ways of going about it on the PGA Tour. The single-length golf clubs, the same-length golf clubs, look, it's something that he, through whatever science he's looked at, thinks that it would work really well for him, and obviously it's working. And golf, as much as any other sport, is a copycat sport. I wouldn't be surprised to see other players now looking at that and saying, you know, I've never really thought about that. I thought it was crazy, but this guy's going out and beating me in golf tournaments. Maybe I should go look at it and figure it out myself and see if that would work for me too. And he uses a lot of big words, uses science, uses physics. I had to, when I tweeted out that word, I copied and pasted because I had no idea what he was talking about. But precipitation, something like that.
God bless you.
I don't know what I don't know what he meant, but it sounded good, and he won the golf tournament, so I guess it's working for him.
So 2 weeks, we have the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. Whose game fits that right now the way they're playing the best?
You know, I was looking at the one odds makers list of handicaps for the U.S. Open, and Dustin Johnson, a little bit surprisingly, is on top of the list. He's played obviously very well this year, but I wouldn't put him as number one on my list. Right after that was Jordan Spieth, who's obviously struggled over the last couple of months, and right after him was Rory McIlroy, who's been way up and way down and very inconsistent this year. I look at the guy who's fourth on the list. In fact, the last time I checked, he was tied with Tiger Woods, the same odds, 15-1 to go win the U.S. Open. But I think Justin Thomas, you look at his record over the last, I believe it's now 26 events. He's finished in the top 25 every single time. He just doesn't have off weeks. And the fact that Justin Thomas goes out there week in, week out, he's now the number one player in the world. I think he's got a terrific chance to go out and win his second major in his last three tries to add to that PGA championship last year. So he's probably number one on my list if you had to ask me right now. But again, things can change. Once we get to the course next week at Shinnecock and we see how the rough is cut, we see what the weather is going to be, and we see what things are looking like as far as tee times, and maybe one wave will have an advantage. I think you have to adjust once you get there. But as of right now, if I had to pick, Justin Thomas might be my guy.
Jason Sobel, golf writer for the Action Network, formerly worked for us at ESPN, longtime friend of ours, joins us on the show. Here's that tweet that he put out there. You got to hear this from Bryson DeChambeau. This is what Bryson DeChambeau said was working on. I'm not going to give you too much. I'm not going to give too much away, but if it's got to do with anatomical limits of your body and how you can best utilize them for your proprioception.
Okay.
Whatever.
There you go.
That's second spectrum quote,
thanks.
not a second spectrum stat. You, Jason Sobel, are not a second spectrum stat. You are our guy, and it's good to talk to you, my friend. We'll see what happens at Shinnecock. Thanks for being with us.
Guys, great talking to you. I'm going to go work on my proprioception right now.
Exactly. I did that before breakfast, and I feel fantastic. Jason Sobel with us.
Thanks,
We'll see
Jason.
what happens at Shinnecock. And he makes a good point. You're going to have to hit fairways and greens, and if you can do that, some putts will fall. So it could be interesting at Shinnecock, but you hit it in the hay there. You have zero
This
chance.
as long as the math works out as your putting does.
That's exactly right.
And even if you didn't win, you could have won or should have won.
I'll bend these any way I want. Coming up, a professional athlete actively choosing to turn down free money. What? He had a reason? And it made sense?
Hey guys, this is Mike Golic.
And this is Trey Wingo.
You ever wish you could wake up early in the morning and have donuts with your dad and us?
For Father's Day this year, you can. We're teaming up with Sport Clips Haircuts for a Dad's Day getaway. An all-expense-paid trip to ESPN, including a day spent with us on the show.
Plus, my son Junior, it is for Father's Day, isn't it?
Register for your chance to win online at sportclips.com/ESPN and make priceless memories.
No purchase necessary. See rules at sportclips.com/ESPN. U.S. only. Age 18 and up and 6/15/18.
I like those horns, man. I want big sound. I get this, and they get this. Sports Center brought to you by Discover Card. Become a new card member, and Discover Card's going to match all the cash back you've earned dollar for dollar at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations do apply.
Hi, Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You know, we can't go too long, Mike, without...
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine now. A little hit of the good stuff. Talk a little football. Tight end Rob Gronkowski will be at Patriots mandatory minicamp this week.
Who else will be
after
there?
skipping the voluntary?
Some guy named Tom Brady?
I believe Tom Brady will be
Yeah,
there
I mean,
as well.
again, this is so predictable. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, again, I know they've been at the offseason program before and they weren't this year. We know there could be a little butting of the heads there going on. But when the mandatory stuff came about, the players, those two guys were going to show up. So
yes.
I don't think there was any shock about that. They're going to be there for minicamp. No one's going to be holding out. It's all my opinion, but I think that's exactly what's going to happen as we're finishing up the OTAs as players are going to get about a month and a half off before the training camps start.
Okay, so look, you could make the very compelling argument that you don't need a lot of time together if you're Gronk or Brady because you've been there, done that, and you're at this point I think you're more concerned about Gronk's back being healthy.
Exactly.
So if for whatever reason they weren't both there, it's not the end of the world because they obviously have put the time in. However, there's another guy who is all in right now, and he's all in on turning down things, Mike, for the right reasons.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs quarterback. Last year, remember, Andy Reid traded way up for him into the first round. And one of the things he didn't do last year was really accept any off-the-field deals that would have put him out there, his face out there and such. His agent we talked about how in the first year, the goal was to integrate into the team. And the only way to do that, is to pay deference to the incumbent veterans and try not to go into the situation with a high profile. Again, this is his agent, Lee Steinberg.
Yeah.
He said, we intentionally didn't do endorsements that would run in the Kansas City area, even though they were offered. We didn't want him to be on billboards and everything when he wasn't even playing. Mahomes, again, his father was a Major League Baseball player for 11 seasons, so you kind of they understand the professional athlete kind of stepping stone and ladder and code of that. Say, hey, I'm not even starting. I don't need to be plastered all over the billboards. Well, now that's changed. So he has been basically handed the starting job. Alex Smith is in Washington right now, so he will be accepting those endorsement deals. But I have a good point.
I agree.
Listen, I'm not starting. I'm a rookie. I'm not even playing right now.
Backup.
I'm not going to be the guy with my face plastered all over the place. There's a time and a place for that.
I thought it was interesting, too, though. He made it very clear. We didn't want him to do endorsements that would run in Kansas City area. So he did some national stuff.
Right.
And that's fine. And by the way, I don't know who's more excited about Patrick Mahomes being the starter this year for Kansas City. Their head coach, Andy Reid, or our Louis Riddick.
Yeah.
Louis Riddick has been all in on Patrick Mahomes for a long, long time. And speaking of all in, your guy was all in as well over the weekend.
Yes, he was. Last Friday was National Donut Day. We celebrated, obviously,
in
here,
style.
Without a doubt. And, of course, the Major League Eating it would have a contest as well, that organization. And they did. They had a Hostess Donuts eating contest.
Those are the little ones.
The little ones. The ones
Those
I
are
did.
Sugary,
the ones I did when Stugatz challenged me to that, and I'll get to that. So Joey Chestnut, the champion of all, 34-year-old, he won it. He ate 257 donuts in 6 minutes.
Wait, what?
257 donuts in 6 minutes. Okay, that's a lot. And for his work, he won $4,000. If you're able to see the video on it, you've never seen more white. The only place I seen more white powdered sugar was off beignets.
Yes,
when you try and eat a lot of those.
Or an episode of Miami Vice in the 80s.
Well, there you go. Good point. So he ate 257. Here's my thought.
Yeah.
When Stugatz challenged me when he ate a few and then threw up all over himself, he challenged me that I couldn't beat his record. I ate 38 in a minute 10.
38.
So 38 in a minute 10. So take away 10 seconds, take away 3. So let's say I did 35 in a minute.
I'm doing some quick
and it
math.
was a 6 minute. I already did the math.
No,
that would be 210. If I held that pace, maybe adrenaline would keep me going.
And you slowed down.
I did slow down. I was talking. I was doing a talk show.
Yeah.
While it was going on. 210. I would have placed third.
Yeah.
Third in that contest at 210, and I know I could have done it.
Yeah, you could have.
Yes.
I don't know, man. It's a
lot.
It's a lot of donuts.
I may be overreaching with that one, but I'm going to say I could have.
Yeah, I think you could have too. By the way, we'll be announcing our winners for the Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat coming up later this week. Good. And LeBron says he wants his team to stay uncomfortable. We'll ask our guy, Hot Take Hollins, why that matters. Stay